It's a lot of people in your show. You're constantly revolving characters in and out. You're saying of all those people, not one person was a jerk?
We had one or two like douchebags, that kind of thing, but not like major that just ruins the whole.
Tell me, I mean, I love the show. I watch it. Who was a douchebag?
You met him. You met him. He was on the show. You call, yeah. I mean, I don't want to name names. We're not going to name names.
The only person from your show that I've interviewed on this show is Patton Oswalt.
That's my bad. Let's not tell him, guys.
The little dwarf himself posted, I refer to him as one of Hollywood's house nerds because that's what he is. He's a fucking poser. He might have known some stuff back in the day, but he's just full on Hollywood douchebag now, right up there with Kevin Smith and Will Wheaton.
It's like these nerds who got into the club. That's the kind of feeling it is.
Kevin Smith was a nerd. That's unquestionable. But the other two, not really that sure. If you're talking about nerds who went and bought weekly comics, and I know Patton Oswalt is famous for being a dick and big timing his friends and people who knew him for years and remarrying within a year of his wife dying. But he's going to talk about the emotional depth of the Rings of Power season 2 here. What makes season 2 of the Rings of Power deeper than season 1 is seeing the orcs mourn their dead.
It was literally only Adar and the guy next to him that ever showed any of what he's talking about. All the other orcs were still the bloodthirsty.
Yeah, they go blog.
The ones that ran away because they didn't want to die. Those as well. They got slaughtered, so whoops.
Wait, you guys didn't see the scene of the orcs sitting in therapy going, me have hard time talking about feelings.
We lost it on effects. We were going frame by frame, essentially. And did you see the orc with the ladle who was like making
over the meat?
Food? Yeah.
Just immediately drops the food. I can eat a live elf now. This will be way better.
It was just the orc chef who was living his life, and they were like, gotta go. And he's like, oh, all right, I'm up for this. Why didn't Patton mention that guy? The guy who's trying to become a Michelin.
He just wanted to grill.
Because Patton didn't watch this fucking series. He just wanted to talk about this clip. Okay.
And so on top of that, they couldn't even commit to it. They were completely contradicting themselves by showing the orcs bloodthirsty and then, we don't want to go to war. Yeah, pick a side, idiots. On top of that, right, it also makes the orcs worse. It makes them feel weaker. Like orcs come off more badass when they don't care about, so-and-so died, piss off, he was weak, let's keep killing, right? There's that visceral kind of, disregard for life that orcs had that made them more intimidating. Making them all be touchy-feely, we're so worried about our dead, makes them weaker and undermines the purpose that they're supposed to serve in the narrative for being these merciless, unforgiving monsters. That goes to show again that the people who's making Rings of Power just do not understand Lord of the Rings or what they're working
If the professor thought it would help the story, he would have fleshed them out more. Period.
A season away potentially from the payoff of Gil-galad having a knife to Glug's wife's throat.
I thought you were going to say an affair with an orc.
I thought being like, hands over the ring or I'll kill your wife. It's like, no.
And it's not like the orcs, not like they need to be refined or they're like Neanderthals. Don't they kind of represent like the id? Like the utmost kind of basic savagery.
They represent a corrupted form of life. They are evil. Yes, they were created as a mockery to what Iluvatar created in the Song of Creation. It was done by Morgoth, who sown the discord in the Song of Creation, and it is felt that they were corrupted men or corrupted elves who later were able to, multiply. So they did fuck. And we talked about this before the show, that people were saying that orcs don't fuck. Orcs fuck. Okay, they do. But they also possibly had... But, it's been like the stuff that they're debating within the Tolkien fandom is fine, but to debate it to support anything in this show is fucking disingenuous and stupid in every way, shape, or form. I'm guessing most Tolkien fans just kind of assumed that orcs had litters of orcs and only the strong survived, and maybe they ate their fucking young. I don't know. Evil exists in this story. Okay, I know Hollywood would like for it not to exist very much, and they don't really understand good and evil anymore, and that's probably why Pattons have a problem with it. So I'll start it over. What makes season 2 of the Rings of Power deeper than season 1 is seeing the orcs mourn their dead, struggle to find a home in a world, and worry about their families. It makes the battle sequences more exciting and heartbreaking. They're not just faceless horde.
No, it's worse, because what is struggling to find a home in the world? Well, it was going to a place where people were living, setting a volcano off that killed millions of people, animals, destroyed the entire wilderness. Why are they in war in the first place? Because they went off to march to destroy another city, which had done absolutely nothing to them. It's like, oh, they just struggle to be accepted. The reason why people go around slaughtering orcs is because the orcs go around slaughtering other people, and so the only cure to what is essentially just a savage group going around destroying everything is there is no negotiating with them like they've shown in the show. There is no other option. This is the only thing you have left, because if it's not you, then it's us. And so it's weird for Patton to come out and be like, oh, this is the humans that represent me. This is the humanity that I see on a daily basis. I really feel for these people. If you are looking at an evil group of people like the orcs and thinking that's just like me, it really says more about the person that sees it rather than anything about the material itself.
Wasn't the first proper set of scenes we had for this area was them executing people who didn't bend the knee immediately?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What are you deep? What are you talking about? Like, they're just evil. It's funny because you almost want to be like, yeah, this is part of Rings of Power's fault for fucking up orcs. But it's like, yeah, but Rings of Power wasn't exactly like they did it really badly anyway. If their goal was to try and make orcs have some level of humanity, it's like they're still mindless beasts in 99% of the content. So I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
We got to remember that this is coming from the man who told everybody they could just order Uber Eats if they couldn't go to work because of the lockdowns. So this is the emotional depth. He's going to lecture us on emotional depth.
Well, it's almost like a very liberal take to be like, oh, these are like, I don't know, the minorities or the migrants, and look at them, they're trying to be people. Like, that's what I get from this.
That's part of it. But the other thing too is the fact that they actually identify with the evil side. It's the reason why they despise heroes and superheroes and don't relate to them at all. It's the reason why constantly we see these writers and these actors identifying with the villains, because that's what they are. They are fucking evil.
It was the showrunners that originally put out the story that the orcs were just trying to find a home when they blew up a volcano. They were the first people to do it. But it is weird that it's only these two characters that are supposed to be deeper than any of this, and the rest aren't. It kind of builds them up as if you think they're going to be long-term people, and then they just both die. It never goes anywhere. And then you find out that Adar is only even in this because one of the Tolkien estate, I can't remember his name, Simon, is that the one still around? Yeah. Simon was the one that liked Adar's character, so he wanted him to stick around. So they just extended his story for no reason. He wasn't even supposed to be around at this point, so it seems like this is all they could think of.
It's like the idea that all of the Uruk-hai in Helm's Deep, that we need to know they were family members in order to make that fight better. What are you talking about? Part of the horror of it all is this force that's just washing over this castle filled with the last remnants of humanity trying to stay alive. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, but are they trying to find a home?
They're just trying to find a home.
Just trying to raise their little orclings. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
They're just a bigot.
Were there baby orcs in this? Did I miss that?
Yeah, there was that one female orc holding one.
Can you imagine if J.D. Payne does think that if only they'd negotiated at Helm's Deep, there could have been peace? It was just like, why didn't you ever invite them in?
You know, the really funny thing is that one scene where the orc was holding the baby, I thought it was a human baby and they were going to eat it.
That would have been better.
That would have made more sense. Oh my God. So yeah, hopefully this is the last we ever hear of this series. Other than we had Jennifer Salk come out and say that 55 million people watched it over roughly a 30-day period worldwide, which is interesting because if you remember, guys, over 100 million people watched season 1 in the same 30-day period when it opened. So it's lost 45% of its audience.
And they still say 55 million engaged with it, whatever that means.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Ryan.
They briefly looked at it.
Engaged. So, me posting a picture of fucking Tolkien flipping off the Rings of Power account is considered engagement. Okay.
Potentially, maybe.
Yes.
But it
depends on what metric they used.
It was 40 million or 44 million after 11 days, and then that came after like 34.
Yeah.
And multiple episodes have come out since then.
Yes.
So the audience drop-off from that first 11 days was astronomical.
Yep.
What's the word on anything for season 3, like in terms of pre-production?
It's imminent. A renewal is imminent.
Did you see that? I think it was a Hollywood Reporter post that claimed essentially all of the writers for season 2 are not coming back.
Yeah, I heard
that. We had a message saying, like, do you think there's hope as a result of that? I was like, no.
No.
Think about what they tried to say about season 2. It's like, oh, no, this is more accurate to the source material. No, it wasn't. They just lied through their ass, and they're like, "Yeah, we've learned things from season 1." No, you didn't.
No, they didn't.
Season 2 was worse.
Celebrimbor in one of the first interviews said the entire scenes between him and Sauron is complete canon, and the audience will like that because they like that kind of thing. That was before the series.
Oh yeah, Variety Deadline on the Hollywood Reporter in their byline on a headline is like, "We're Celebrimbor and Sauron lovers."
Finally revealed.
Finally revealed. Yeah.
Finally.
And the answer was yes.
Yeah.
The answer was
I
yes.
can understand why people would ship them.
No wonder it took them so long to make those fucking rings. They were fucking all the time.
Right.
Why does this ring vibrate?
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.